What's going on, guys? Back again. 2 in a week. Holy moly. This is weird. This is getting a little too weird. I don't know. Well, I wanted to do this review. I had a reasoning, remember, for my last Final Mouse review, and I kind of have a reasoning for this one as well. Um, I say kind of recently. I've always done aim training, kind of in one way or another, but I've recently more got into like actual aim trainers, like Kovacs and Aim Lab, things like that. And I say recently, half a year or something like that. Um, and I've always been a good aimer. Like aim has always been my strong suit, and it kind of reflects in the aim trainers. I get a lot of top 99 percentile scores, some top 10 on some pretty heavily trafficked playlists, and that sort of thing. And because of my interest in this, I've started, kind of following that scene a little bit more. And there are a lot of people that literally that is what they play. They just play Kovacs or Aim Lab, and they kind of stick to those games. And it's like that's the games they play. They don't use it to become better at other games. That's just the games they like to play, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it definitely piqued my interest. And it was a couple days ago, I was watching the Aim Lab tourney that was on, and I want to say it's like one of the first ones because it was like almost like a kickoff event, and it ended up coming down to there was a few people that were casting it, and they even had like a little show match tourney with some kind of more known people. I think like Tens from Valorant was in there, and a few other people. And then, the actual tourney itself that was made up of the different aimers, and usually and it ended up being two different guys from a group or team that I kind of follow it's called Revo Sect. And they ended up, making it both to the final. And it's a guy named Trusty and another guy named Mad Bad Man or Bad Mad Man. I always forget. I always get his mixed up. But yeah, they're both nasty. And what's funny is they both use the exact same setup, and it involves this hati-s. And I'm pretty sure they actually both use an Artisan Heian as well, which I actually have on the way as well. Not because they have it, but I've literally just wanted one for a while, so I finally pulled the trigger. But yeah, they both use the hati-s, and so it kind of piqued my interest. I've had one for a while now. And I kind of went back to it a little bit to kind of give it a shot, see what I thought of it. Put it on this so you guys can see it a little bit more. This is actually the Universe Edition. I'm not sure which one they had. They're all fairly similar, though. But I will say a few of the models do use, I believe, the new Khalil. Like I said, guys, correct me. Somebody correct me in the comments. They do. A few of the models do use the Khalil 8.0s, and I don't think these do. Where'd the box go? It came with some actual extra mouse switches in the box, but I didn't even look at which ones those were. I'm assuming that these are not because Boardsy did a mouse review of this specific model, and his had Omrons in it, I think. But yeah, all in all, I wanted to kind of go over this mouse because it is a very interesting option. And I will start off this video by saying, if money is any sort of object, buy the $60 version that I believe it just comes in red, so you might have to deal with it being red. And it has solid sides, which, as you can see, I put on the grips anyways, because for some reason, if a mouse has holes on the side, it makes my hand sweat. I don't know what it is. It's like some weird mechanism in my body. But it makes my hands sweat. And so I put on the side grips anyways, which I think the red version with the solid sides is only like a gram or two heavier anyways. So it's not like you're going from like 50 grams to like 65 or something like that. And the only other difference is I believe this version uses a 3389 sensor in it, and the other version uses a 3360. Both perfect sensors. You're not going to notice any sort of difference in sensor quality in these mice. But yeah, when it comes down to it, I think it really is a very good mouse, especially for that $60 price. This one was $100. I don't know if I can recommend it at $100, but it is a really cool colorway, and it is a cool mouse. It's definitely on the smaller side, as I'll put it kind of here next to a Starlight 12, as you can see. They're very similar. The Hati is a little bit taller, hump more towards the middle. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, I would say it's more towards the middle. Whereas the Starlight is just kind of flatter overall. It's just kind of a flatter shape overall. You know what? You can take this out. So the Hati does have a detachable cord, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I would say it's overall very similar shape, except the Hati does have a bit higher hump on it. That being said, it is a very lightweight mouse. You know, I believe this one specifically weighs about 48 grams. I'd have to get out my scale and test it, but it's very lightweight. Definitely gives a lightweight feeling. And I'm assuming that's why a lot of the aimers use it. You know, if you go look at some charts of what different aimers and the different teams use, whatever it be, like Revosect or anything like that, they almost all use lightweight mice, lightweight small mice. Not all of them, sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. But you'll see a lot of Viper Minis, you'll see a lot of the hati-s, Starlight 12s, things like that. I think they really just cater towards that kind of aim. You know, I'm sure somebody will come in and be like, well, this guy in CS or this guy in Valorant have really good aim, and they use this Zowie or something like that, which is heavier. But it's like, sure, but those are like really two different kinds of aim. We're not talking about that kind of aim. I could aim perfectly fine and keep up at a near professional level in CS with a 90-gram mouse. I mean, it's a totally different type of aim. So, but yeah, all in all, guys, I really do think that this is an interesting option, especially at that $60 price range you can get it for. A very small mouse, so it definitely caters towards like maybe claw a little bit, but it's definitely more fingertip in my opinion. It's definitely a very interesting mouse. I will say the clicks in mine don't feel extremely great. I mean, they're definitely not bad. They're usable, but they're kind of have a little bit of a thockiness to them, if that makes sense. Like, it's not as crisp feeling, but they don't feel bad. They're definitely usable. I mean, if you're a person like me, I just really don't care about clicks that much as long as they feel usable and not like overly heavy or something like that. But once again, it's all preference. Here's the side buttons. Also, they feel pretty good, pretty solid. Not a lot of pre-travel or anything like that, or post-travel. They all in all feel good. It does have a nice little bit of nice mouse feet on it. If I were to use this mouse more, I would probably replace the mouse feet with like some core pads or Tiger Ice, just because I just like the feel of that glide more. But once again, all personal preference. These feel like they have a little bit more stopping power. So if that's something you feel like you need, then leave the stock feet on there. All in all, guys, I do really think that this is a quite interesting option for that $60 range. It has a pretty safe shape. That it depends. Depends on how you really grip it. It does have that bigger hump in the middle, where something like the Viper Mini, which I have right here. Let me see if I can kind of show you guys that one side to side too. The Viper Mini is going to be a little bit lower. Kind of. Yeah. I think the hati-s kind of peaks a little bit taller than the Viper Mini, and then the Starlight 12 is just way lower than both of them. So overall, like, I would say the Viper Mini is a little bit lower and longer, whereas the hati-s has the hump in the middle a little bit, and it's a little bit shorter. And then the Starlight 12 is almost, I would say, a tiny bit longer, it looks like, than the Hati, but lower, also the lowest out of all three. So really is going to come down to preference on which small mouse you're going to kind of be looking for. I actually just got this in too, so if you want to see a review of this, let me know. But yeah, guys, all in all, I do think it is a very interesting option. for that $60 price point, which is what I would pay for it. I mean, if you just have money and you just don't care, you just want to buy a mouse and like the look of it, like the aesthetic of this, the Universe Edition, which I do think looks really cool, then yeah, I mean, it's a sick mouse. And I mean, as you can see, two of the best aimers in the world, as far as, you know, we're talking about aim training aimers, in Trusty and Mad, both use this mouse, and they just won a lot of money using it. So if you know, and I will say, kind of going into a little bit more about the company themselves, G Wolves, kind of like Final Mouse, I do respect what they're doing. They're taking a lot of inspiration from other companies, even Final Mouse. And then they have their HSK, which is kind of, that German company. I have no idea how to say their name, but they make the M1K and the M2K. It's that very tiny finger grip mouse. And they have the HSK, which is essentially a clone of that. So I really like what they're doing, as far as like they're trying to go grab shapes, take inspiration from other companies, and make them more available, which is a really cool idea. They take a lot of feedback on Twitter, which I know kind of gets them in trouble, but some people are like, I wish you'd just like actually do this instead of stay off Twitter and asking people what they think. And it's like, making mice isn't easy. Like, you have to get molds, you have to get, you know, samples, you got to do quality control, things like that. So really, I mean, I do respect what they're doing. You know, the HSK, I think, only had like 48 copies of it come out initially, and they said that they're trying to more mass produce it now. So I definitely like what they're doing, and I do think that this shape is worth trying if you want a small claw, but mainly probably catered towards a little bit more towards fingertip, but you could definitely claw it, mouse. And yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting option for anybody out there. It has a very safe shape, kind of concaves a little bit at the middle here, as you can kind of see. But yeah, all in all, like I said, mouse feels good enough. Scroll wheel feels good. Side buttons are good. Feet are good enough. Yeah, all in all, I think it is a pretty good option, especially at that $60 price point, like I've said probably 30 times in this video. All in all, guys, yeah, if you want to see more, you want to see that MM720 review, let me know. And if you do, please try, and if you did like this video, like it and subscribe, because if you like it, it just helps the algorithm and more people see it, essentially. And like, so it doesn't get buried, even though I don't think there's a whole ton of hati-s reviews out there. But yeah, all in all, guys, if you did like this, like it. And then if you do want to catch me playing, you know, Warzone or doing some aim labs or Kovacs or anything like that, head over to twitch.tv/SpillyFTW. And I will see you guys next time.